What's up, you fucking sucking piece of shit, asshole, bitch, mother ass, pieces of garbage ass fucking retards. So, first start, skis. This is my first time ever drawing a building or a structure and actually finishing it. I've sketched and doodled in the past maybe 5 or 6 buildings, but I've never finished one, so this is like a first. That, which means I really don't know what I'm doing here. This fucking one building took me 10 full hours of basically experimentation, dicking around, just redrawing things over and over again because they look kind of fucked up. Yeah, that was the process for this. So that, like, I'm gonna edit this down to 2 20-minute or 2 10-minute videos out of 10 full hours. So basically all I did is I took the 10-hour video, sped it up 5 times, so it was down to 2 hours. So I ended up just deleting entire chunks of the content at random, kind of willy-nilly. And that's what you're going to be seeing. Basically just me kind of sketching and doodling. What I did was initially to get the perspective down. And again, so I'm not an authority on architectural drawing. It's just something. It's kind of funny. I've never drawn buildings because I literally get hard over medieval architecture and castles and stuff. I love learning about how they used to build shit back in them days, but I just never drawn the stuff. So anyway, here I am drawing one. It's like the idea behind this is just a fantasy tavern, like a roadside inn. And so what I did was I took a picture of an existing medieval structure just for the perspective, and I just traced the main lines, like the 4 corners, the roof, and just to get the perspective of the building. Because you could go through and do your 5th grade art class perspective shit, but anyone who's into drawing already knows how to do that, and it would have just taken me more time. That obviously, this thing's already fucking ridiculously long enough. So I did that initially, and then I kind of fucked with the size of certain parts of the building and then added my own little pieces to make it look more fantasy-like. And so here we are, moving on to putting in some color. I've got the line work kind of worked out to the point where I like the way it's looking, and I'm going to start adding some color. And I just give it a big wash over with what I want to be the base colors of the main large portions of the building. Obviously like an off-white cream color for the upper structure, and then the bottom part's made of stone, so I'm just kind of going with those kind of colors. And all I'm doing to kind of differentiate the 2 planes is making a darker version of each color and putting that on the sort of the side that would be in shadow. So if you can imagine, the light source is kind of coming from out of frame. So this would be lit by the moon, like a full moon. And it's coming from, if you're looking at the piece straight on, the moon would be over your left shoulder, hitting the building. So that's just the lighting scheme. Nothing fancy, nothing special. So I'm putting in the colors. And so the nice thing about just using a reference for getting your perspective right, just getting that out of the way, is once you have this object that's in perspective already, you can then use that existing perspective to just do all the other objects or pieces of content within that structure. So all the windows, all the lines with the beams, and just everything else involved, all you have to do is follow the existing perspective that's you already have, and you know it's right because it's based on a photograph. So it's a quick and easy way to do it. You could go through the process and fucking Leonardo da Vinci some fucking perspective by hand and use vanishing points and all that shit, but there's really no point to do that. And it's like, you're not accomplishing anything, and there's a good chance you could fuck it up. And then if you fuck up the perspective, then the whole thing's fucked up. Now, that's not to say that there isn't some wonky ass bullshit perspective in this. There's like some certain pieces that are just wrong because I did them like freehand. But once the object reaches a certain level of complexity, once you've added all your random embellishments and bullshit, people aren't really going to be able to pick up unless, they're studied and have a good eye for this sort of stuff. But you're going to be able to hide your crimes, as one of my idols, Adam Savage, always likes to say, hide the crimes. If you make it, a fairly complex drawing, it's not like people are going to be able to see all the areas right away where you fucked up the perspective, because, it's fairly complex, and that's fine. That's totally, it's a totally valid way to create a piece, as long as you're not trying to draw your fucking masterpiece and you're just trying to convey an idea and draw a thing. It doesn't have to be perfect. Everything doesn't have to be perfect. That's something that I think takes a lot of artists a long time to accept. People, at least I know for sure I did. I ended up getting, early on, I would never finish anything because I would always get so myopic about, oh, well, if they look at this part of the drawing, they're going to see that this isn't quite right and whatever. But you just have to kind of get a big picture idea of what you're trying to do, and then decide, how important is this particular piece to the whole, and that's a skill in and of itself, recognizing where it's okay to just fuck up and where you gotta make it shine and make it correct. And that's just part of experience, and being a good artist is realizing those little tricks and skills that don't really, you're not going to read about that in a drawing book. You're not going to hear about obscuring mistakes and sort of cutting corners and doing shit like that in a drawing book. Drawing books and basically almost any learning material about how to draw teaches you how to do it by the book. This is how you make a shape, this is how you fucking do perspective, whatever. But in reality, the point is to convey a thought, an idea, a concept onto a visual medium. And if you can do that and accomplish that goal, despite having a few mistakes here and there, then you're fucking golden. Doesn't matter. You don't have to be perfect and an expert. This isn't a blueprint for an actual building. It's a fucking tavern in a made-up world. So, yeah, that's just a little concept that I think is very, very important for any upcoming artist. Do not get too bogged down in the details. As long as it comes off as what you kind of are trying to go for, you're good. Everything does not have to be perfect. this is just part 1 of part 2. There's this is about the initial 5 hours of recording condensed into 10 minutes. I'm going to do the same with the second 5 hours. I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we'll see you for part 2, and go fuck yourselves.